Hey, this is John with Jolly Camper. So we're getting ready to head out on a trip, and so we thought we'd just show you how we hook up here with our Husky weight distribution hitch and all of that stuff. So we're getting ready to do that. So first thing I'm going to do is so I've been reading on the thing about greasing your hitch ball. So one of the ways they say to protect your hitch ball from rust and other things is to take an old tennis ball, and I've just cut it open and I put it over the hitch of the ball. Now, one of the ways that you can grease your ball is to stick your grease inside of the ball and put it on there and wipe it on, but this is another way to protect it. It's good because it's a rubber inside, so it helps it from the weather. But basically I've just got some STP grease, any old grease will do, and a paper towel. We're just gonna take a little grease and, as they said, liberally apply it to the entire ball area. So what this is going to do, this is going to allow my hitch to connect and disconnect easier. It's also, while I'm driving down the road, it's going to cut down on the grinding noise that you might hear in your trailer. If you've got a window open or whatever else, you might hear a grinding noise. So that's all going to help with all of that. So we're just going to do a little, we just greased it up a little bit. We'll put that away, and then so what we have is we bought a master lock system. It's an all-in-one kit, so it comes with a hitch protector, and you get the hitch pin, and I think it also came, if I remember right, I think it came with pins for the regular size, the smaller size, not the big one, but the smaller hitch on it, and that. So I'm just going to take this off. This is a pretty great system. It's one key that uses all of it. So this is nice. It just slides in and out. This goes up under your hitch, and you can slide it down in. And I'll take my hitch pin off. Pull my hitch pin back into position for locking position. Now I'm a kind of guy, I keep things up here, so I put that up here. So we're kind of ready to back up and hook up and all of that. So I'll explain to you our weight distribution system. This is the Husky weight distribution hitch. So these bars slide into here. You can see these holes on the side, and there's holes on the side here. The bar slides in. You have this pin. Pin slides through the holes, comes around and locks onto there. Okay, and then you'll drive back, as you'll see in the demo. We'll drive back, we'll come. So as you can see here, the bar, if it were on the other side, it would come back, and we would use this tool to basically stick here and take the bar and lift it up and over. So that's how that'll work, and then we'll lock it all down. So the weight distribution hitch, the purpose of it is one is that it helps to distribute the weight of the camper on the tongue and all of that, so you don't have that. And it also has anti-sway, so that when you're driving down the road, your camper's not doing this. And so I highly recommend this. We'll put links out to everything on our site and that, so we'll kind of just show you the process of how this goes. Step one of what I do is I lay everything out into its position and make sure that I have everything. So as you can see down here on the ground, on each side, I've got my weight distribution bar, I've got my pin, and then back here is where I lay my cottage pins that go in here on this area that lay in. So now I have everything in place. I'm ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the truck and we're going to back it up, okay, and drop it down onto the ball, and then we'll resume the video from there. Okay, so Lisa has expertly backed up the truck where the hitch ball is right over the top. So we're just going to drop the hitch ball down. So we're on now on the ball so that we can get this down, and now we can insert our hitch pin as soon as I find my key. Make sure that that's tight on there. Okay, that's not coming off. All right, and we'll hook up our chains. Okay. At this point, if your battery disconnect is on or you're hooked up to power or whatever else, you know, you can disconnect all of that or whatever, hook into your truck. If your truck, you know, for us, the truck needs to be running for this to actually work. But this still works because we're still hooked into power, but I've got the trailer now hooked in. Okay. So at this point, we'll put our weight distribution bars on. And again, lining up the holes, attaching this, and then do you want to do that side?
Sure.
This is why we lay our equipment out, because once we're hooked up, we're, you know, it's hard to go across.
That's the pin we use.
So Lisa does one side and I do the other. Okay, so at this point now, what we want to do is we want to get to where we can raise these bars up onto the thing. So if you try to put the bar and pull the bar up there now, the distribution of that and the weight of that is really hard, and it'd be virtually impossible to pull that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the truck, we're going to lift the jack. That's going to raise the back end of the truck. It's going to raise the hitch. It's going to bring them up closer to the things and make it easier for us to pop them up and over. Now, in our driveway, it's slightly tilted this way. So here's the thing about a weight distribution hitch. If you're slightly off kilter, so if you're not perfectly level, then the one side, that's the higher side, is going to be harder to get on and get off. The lower side will be harder to get on and off. Our driveway actually slopes towards the camera, so this side is always harder to get on and get off. This side's always easier to get on and get off. So at this point we'll switch sides, because I always like to do the harder side and give Lisa the easier side, and we'll put the bars on. We'll show you how the bars go on and how we tie it all up, and then we're ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to raise this, and you'll see how this bar starts to raise as the truck starts to raise. Okay, so here it's a little wide away, so we do have to kind of help it get a little closer. And then we take our tool. So our tool has a little end in here. That little end goes up under the front side of this and hooks in. There's a hole right here in between these two things right here. And then we just lift and pull it over. Okay? And then we take this little square bracket here that's tethered. We stick it down in. There is a cottage pin hole down here at the bottom. That cottage pin hole sticks out. We take our cottage pin, okay, and then we stick it through the hole. Now I will tell you, here's the thing about these cottage pins. These cottage pins, I have found that as we use them and we turn with the camper and the weight distribution's on, for whatever reason it is, these cottage pins bend. They'll kind of bend along the thing and that. So I highly recommend that you order extra ones of these, or go to a trailer store or whatever and pick up extras of these cottage pins and have them on hand. And I would also order extra pins for your weight distribution hitch and have those as well. These actually, if I show you in our, as you can see, I have them. I have some that I have ready to go, just in case. And the reason is because the way these work, these are just little pins that, it's a pin and these little things stick out. So what I have found is that a couple of times through learning, we actually kind of dropped the thing on this end and it broke the cottage pin. And also we also had one that constantly came out. It never came out while we were driving, but you'd go to pull it out or do whatever and it was loose and that. So it's just good to have replacements in case you need them or lose them, that kind of thing. So we'll put links to these out here as well for this stuff, for the cottage pins and these types of things. But anyway, so we'll stick so we got our thing in here. We just run our cottage pin in on that side, and the weight distribution hitch is now fully hooked up. So
well, actually this side isn't, and as is typical for our particular unit, this side's typically the harder one and typically on the low side in our driveway. As John said, our driveway tilts this way. When that's the case, mine is sitting up off of the little bar there you have to get it in, so I have to lower it to get it into position.
What she's saying is that this bar is actually resting up in the air above this, and so what she's doing is dropping this down, and this is forcing the bar now down into the slot where it belongs.
Yeah, and
so
then
that she can
drop
hook it
my
up.
bracket in there.
Right.
And hook it up.
And then she can hook it up. Okay, so we are at this point, we are fully hooked up. So at this point we can test our lights, make sure that our left and right blinker is on, make sure that our brakes work, all of that other stuff, and everything else, and then we can actually drop this down at this point. Okay, so now we are fully using the weight distribution hitch. We are ready to go. So at this point, all we need to do is disconnect everything else, undo our chocks, and we're ready to travel.
And I will say one other thing. Before we actually leave, after we've tested everything, you know, the lights and everything, remove the chocks, we always make one final walk around the trailer. And during that walk around, we're making sure that everything is as it should be. Everything's been removed that should be. Everything that's locked should be, like the doors and that kind of thing. Make sure the little door latch is done over. And then I always kind of come up here and just take a last look at these pins and stuff, and just make sure everything is done. Because you don't want to get part way down the road and realize, uh-oh, something isn't right.
Right.
It's always better to do that last safety check.
Yep.
So, okay, happy camping.
So jolly camping.
Jolly camping.